Today we're going to dig into a little modern day mystery, one that's probably happening on your phone as we speak. We're talking about the case of a beloved feature that, for literally millions of people, just vanished into thin air.
One day it was there, that simple, perfect little icon to get your show from your phone to your TV. The next, it was gone. And look, this wasn't some minor glitch. No, this was a deliberate change that has left millions of us confused, pretty frustrated, and asking one really simple question. And let me tell you, people were not quiet about this. The second that little icon vanished, the internet just, well, it erupted. As this user on Reddit points out, for a lot of people, casting wasn't just a feature. It was the way they use Netflix. Taking it away felt like a direct hit to their whole viewing experience. I mean, the backlash was just immediate and so intense. And this quote right here, it perfectly captures that feeling. Users felt like this core piece of convenience was being ripped away, a move so backward it felt like Netflix was actively making its own service worse. So what's really going on here? Okay, so like any good investigation, you gotta start with the official story. Let's take a look at what Netflix itself has to say and see if we can find any clues in their explanation. So, if you go to the official help page, it's pretty direct. It straight up confirms this change is real, it's intentional, you can't cast to most modern devices anymore. Instead, they tell you to use the physical remote that came with your TV. So, okay, that tells us what happened. But the big question, the why, is completely missing. And this, right here, is where the official story just totally falls apart. See, when people actually managed to get a hold of customer service and ask why, the answer they got back was that it was to, wait for it, improve the customer experience. Yeah, given the absolute outrage, that explanation feels, I don't know, a little unconvincing, right? It pretty much screams that there's something else going on. So to figure out that real motive, we need to get a little technical. We got to do some forensic work on the technology itself. Like, how does casting actually work? Because believe it or not, the answer to that question is the key to this whole thing. You know, at its heart, Google Cast is actually a really simple and kind of elegant idea. Your phone isn't doing the hard work of streaming the video and then beaming it to your TV. No, it's way smarter than that. It's basically acting like a super powerful remote control. It just pings the Chromecast or your TV and says, hey, go grab this specific episode from Netflix's servers and just play it. The receiver on your TV does all the heavy lifting. And this right here reveals the most important clue in this whole case. See, on one side, you've got the old school Chromecasts. Think of them as dumb receivers. They have no remote, no apps. They do absolutely nothing without your phone telling them what to do. But on the other side, you've got the new stuff, the Google TV devices. These are full-on smart platforms with their own operating systems, app stores, and physical remotes. On these, Netflix is an app that lives right on the device. This difference? It's literally everything. Okay, so now that we get that key technical difference, we can start digging into the real motive. Because let's be real, in cases like this, it almost always comes down to one thing: following the money. So that brings us back to the big question. But this time, we've got a lot more information to work with. Why on earth would a company deliberately make its own product harder to use for its customers? Well, it seems to boil down to two main theories. First up, you've got the upsell theory. The idea here is that maybe casting was a sneaky loophole around those concurrent screen limits, and getting rid of it makes it easier for them to enforce their plans and push you to a more expensive one. But then there's theory two, the ad data play. And this one suggests something way, way bigger is going on. It says that by forcing you into their own app on the TV, Netflix gets total control over what you see and how you see it. And why is that control suddenly so important to them? And honestly, when you lay out the timeline, the evidence for that second theory becomes pretty hard to ignore. See, they didn't just remove casting out of the blue. It happened right at the end of a year where Netflix went all in on advertising, launching its own ad tech, expanding partnerships, and watching its ad business revenue just skyrocket. For that whole new business torque, what does Netflix need? Data and control. Exactly what they get by forcing everyone into their native TV app. All right, so the motive seems pretty clear now. Let's talk about the fallout. Who is actually getting hit by this change? And most importantly, is there anything you can do about it? And yeah, the list of people affected is long. It's not just the newest Chromecast owners. It's anyone with a modern smart TV.
Think about travelers who use casting in hotels or Airbnbs so they don't have to type their password into some random TV, or people with home theater projectors that don't even have a Netflix app. Basically, it hits anyone and everyone who just liked the simple convenience of using their phone as the remote for everything.
Now, there are a few exceptions. Casting still works on those older, dumb Chromecasts we talked about. But, and this is a huge but, it only works if you're paying for a more expensive ad-free plan. If you're on the cheaper plan with ads, casting is gone. I mean, come on, that feels like the smoking gun, right? It points directly back to that whole ad data motive we were just talking about.
So what can you actually do right now? What are your options? Well, first, you can do what Netflix wants. Just give in and use the physical remote with the TV app. Second, you can still cast from a Chrome browser tab on your laptop. It's not great, kind of clunky, but it works. Third, you could try to find an old-school Chromecast model on eBay or something. And finally, you can just use other streaming services. The ones that haven't taken this feature away. And really, this whole thing leaves us with a bigger, more important question. As all these streaming giants build out their huge ad businesses, are the simple, convenient features we all love going to be the first things on the chopping block? It feels like in this battle for control over our screens, our convenience is the price of admission. Something to think about the next time you're fumbling for that TV remote.